Sukuna just took Gojo's head off with his domain expansion, and this fight is looking to be over, as Sukuna did win the domain clash even though they were even in the beginning. And it seems like we learned a lot of information, such as Gojo and Sukuna were using domain amplification during last chapter, and that Sukuna has twice as much cursed energy than Yuta, which is really crazy to think about. And we also found out where KASHIMO finally is. This was a really great chapter, and also pretty depressing for Gojo fans. A lot of copium is going to be going around, so if you're a Gojo fan, join me. We're going to be copying a lot this chapter. And I see the Sukuna fans in the comments and on Twitter, you guys are going crazy, and rightfully so. This is not a good look. This is not a good look for us Gojo fans right now. It's not over. It's not over, maybe, hopefully not, but we'll find out. Let's talk about this chapter. And hey, if you're a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, be sure to subscribe. I got a ton of videos like this, analysis, theories, power scaling versus battles, live streams, and even spoiler reviews and chapters like this one. So you won't regret subscribing. And also do your boy a solid and leave a like, it really helps out, especially if you're a Gojo fan, please. And thank you to the honored one member of the channel, Jujutsu Kaisen. Thank you, man. Alright, so this chapter is pretty interesting because we get the POV of where all the characters were as well. So we see everyone, literally everyone. KASHIMO, Hakari, Yuta, I mean all of them, literally. Yuji, we get to see everyone's POV and what they're doing. So pretty much they're watching through a bunch of screens, like this weird tree of screens, right? And they're just watching the battle and commentating, and they're saying a lot of things that we already knew beforehand. So it's not like we learned anything new, but what they did is that they just reconfirmed a lot of things that were merely speculation from before. So if you remember during the last chapter spoiler video that we did, there was a lot of confusion going around, and not only just in my own video where I was saying maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but also in the comments where people were saying, well, are they using domain amplification or is it actually just cursed energy? And I was one of the ones who said it's probably just domain amplification, but maybe it's also cursed energy. And yeah, it's reconfirmed this chapter that it was domain amplification. And it seems that they're also explaining open domains and closed domains as well. So we learned it's actually really hard. I mean, we already knew it was really hard to make an open domain without a barrier, but now that we see it's actually far harder than we thought, where we even see characters like Yuta, KASHIMO, and Akari literally saying it's impossible. And of course he even tries to explain it to Miwa when Miwa actually low diffs Kusakabe, so that puts Miwa, of course we already knew she was way higher than grade 1, but you know, special grade Miwa. But yeah, it's really just considered a godlike feat. Literally, KASHIMO says it's godlike. Great to see KASHIMO, by the way. Love seeing him talk so much. So Kusakabe says, can you save a water without a vessel? Can you draw a picture on air without canvas? Will a flower bloom without a root, leaf, or stem? And Maki says it's like running a software without hardware, where it's pretty much impossible. So really, it's just incredible. And I want to say one thing that I found really confusing is the fact that just now they're sharing this information. So you're telling me there's been a month where they've all been together and they've just held this information off of each other, where it's like all of them are now just finding out that Sukuna has an open domain when some of them already knew. And what's even weirder is that Choso didn't tell any of them that Kenjaku also has an open domain. Like, he says it and everyone's shocked and surprised that they even think all this. Same with Inumiki and Choso, they held off that Sukuna has an open domain. So why didn't they tell everyone from the month before? So I have to question, does Gojo even know Sukuna has an open domain? I'm not even kidding. Maybe next chapter we'll find out that they specifically told Gojo, which would be good, but I think if Gojo knew they had an open domain, Gojo could have easily learned how to make an open domain or a domain without a barrier, and he could have used that to counter Sukuna, but he wasn't aware this chapter. He was very surprised. So again, I'm just left wondering, why hold off this information which is going to kill Gojo, and no one else in the cast even knew, when they could have prepared for Kenjaku's open domain for like a month. Really weird stuff. And of course we have the domain expansion. We see Higuruma say, hey, it's coming. Love to see Higuruma as well, my man. KASHIMO and Higuruma, my two top 5s. And it's a beautiful panel where they both cast domain expansion, literally just continuing off where the last chapter left off. And it's really cool because we see basically the sky is taken over by the infinite void or unlimited void, but inside the domain it's Sukuna's domain, so it's a clash of both of them. It's really cool to see, and the narrator even says that it's an equal clash, straight up. So to quote, evenly matched inside Gojo's barrier, both of their must-hit effects collapse, making them cancel. The battle with both of them expanding their domain. If either of them gets a severe damage, the domain will collapse and the must-hit effect will harm the opponent in a split second. And that is what happens. So pretty much, yes, the clash is even, so it's really interesting that neither of them were actually even pushing the other more than the other person. But remember, because Sukuna's range is high and because this is an open domain, his domain from the outside attacked Gojo's barrier, and as we know, barriers are actually very weak on the outside, and anyone can actually destroy a barrier, even weak attack. Keep in mind, this was confirmed by the narrator for Mahito, for Jogo's, and even Gojo's domain. It was specifically said that this would happen, I think by Nanami or the narrator. So it's not new information. I'm really surprised that people are saying, wow, Gojo's domain could be broken from the outside, when it's been said before in the series. I guess just very early on, so people must have forgotten. But I don't think I saw anyone predicting that this is the way the clash would go. I mean, there were a lot of theories, you know, I had my Tengen theory. I still think that could be true for Yuta's domain. And of course, if you missed it in one of my recent videos, specifically the Kenjaku will take Yuta's body video, I did say that it's actually unlikely that Tengen would interfere in the Gojo fight since they're not actually within a culling game barrier. And it looked like I was right, so thank God I said that recently. But yeah, I don't think anyone said that Sukuna would break Gojo's domain because his had more range and it would overlap from Gojo's domain. Okay, so this is just really weird. Inside of Gojo's barrier, there is potentially an infinite amount of space because he controls space and it's called the infinite void. So I guess that means Sukuna's open barrier actually transcends dimensions since its range actually goes past the dimensional range inside the barrier. So remember, even if Gojo's range is like what, 30 meters or something, 15 meters, well, that's only in the real world. On the inside of the domain, the actual distance is different because it's a different dimension. It's a pocket dimension. So that's why Dagon had a literal island inside of a tiny pocket dimension within 30 meters, where it even had an entire new sun and a new ocean inside of it, right? So I guess it's possible that because they're doing a domain clash, so Gojo's sphere isn't fully overlapped because we can even see in one of the panels, the actual barrier kind of has like a massive vibration or it's moving like an earthquake, so it looks really cool. So maybe that's why, because it's clashing, Sukuna's is actually leaking into the outside of it, and that's also why Sukuna's range counts, because Gojo hasn't fully closed his barriers. Regardless, it's pretty rough. I mean, yeah, Sukuna looked really good this chapter. Again, really weird that no one told Gojo about this, so Choso and Inumaki were just holding on to this information until the last minute, and that is true because everyone was surprised that Sukuna has an open domain, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Is Choso still salty about Gojo coasting him back in Shibuya? Like, what's going on? I'm so lost about this. Even Inumiki, what a clown, bro. Inumiki is never beating the Mickey Mouse allegations. You lost an arm. At least make yourself useful, you absolute bum. Alright, I'm sorry, not to get too off topic. I'm just, as you can see, really frustrated because, god damn, Gojo, is his head cut off? Is his neck cut off? I don't know. Regardless, okay, I know this is gonna sound like coping. Again, it is coping, but I don't think this is over. There's no way that the Gojo versus Sukuna fight, legendary fight, the first chapter is just some hand-to-hand, and then the next chapter, 90% of the next chapter is just people talking, and then it just ends off with a domain expansion, Gojo loses. Meaning that the entire Gojo versus Sukuna fight was pretty much a chapter and a few extra pages, and it was almost entirely hand-to-hand. I'm not gonna lie, like, everything we've gone so far is 11 out of 10. It's god tier stuff, but if that's actually all we're getting from Gojo vs Sukuna, that would be really disappointing. Because I really was expecting at least 3 or 4 chapters, maybe more than that. You know, this is Gojo vs Sukuna, this is the biggest fight of the series. So it's for that reason I don't think it's over. Also, reverse curse technique does exist, and hopefully my theory of if Gojo uses a simple domain, it would be stronger than other people's simple domain, because he has the 6 eyes, he can actually use the simple domain by pouring an infinite amount of cursed energy into it constantly. So it'd be really powerful. It wouldn't just be stripped away. Again, I'm just kind of coping. It's against Malevolent Shrine, so it's not gonna last long either way. Maybe Gojo will quickly teleport out, you know? I don't know. I just don't... I don't know. This is looking very rough right now. But I just don't think it's over. There's no way Gojo vs Sukuna is over right now, right? There's no way it's ending so soon. It's also interesting to learn that the amount of cursed energy that Sukuna has is twice the amount that Yuta has, which is still a large amount. But the reason that he doesn't run out of cursed energy like Yuta is because Sukuna uses it to such an efficient extent that it's actually just, again, called godlike how he uses it. So I guess that's the benefit of being alive for so long and being from the Heian era, I guess. Where if Gojo didn't have the 6 eyes to give him pretty much near infinite cursed energy, Gojo would have ran out of cursed energy already. But again, we know that's what makes Gojo broken, is that he never runs out. So Sukuna has to be very efficient. But I did think it would have been more than twice the amount of Yuta's. And I guess it's because he's using it so efficiently. His output must be insane, and his reinforcement must also be very insane, but mainly his output. And maybe that's how he's just so much faster than other characters, let's say Yuta and Ryu, even at 15 fingers. So I guess maybe output does affect speed because of this statement. I don't know, that's a whole topic for another day. I actually won't get into that now because I know it's a very controversial topic. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Sukuna fans, I know you're gonna go crazy. Gojo fans, please give me some theories about why you think he'll survive. Maybe he'll teleport out, maybe he'll activate simple domain. Of course he's got reverse curse technique, but no reverse curse technique is healing him if he gets hit by the entire onslaught of a Malevolent Shrine sure hit like Maharogan. If you did enjoy the video, hey, be sure to leave a like. It does help out. Thank you a lot if you do. And hey, if you haven't already subscribed for tons of JJK content, I've got a ton of videos like this, theories, what ifs, versus battles, and I'll also be doing a live stream about this chapter probably tomorrow actually. And thank you to all the channel members as well. It's much appreciated. If you see your name on the screen, you're an absolute legend. And if you watched this far, you remember the Hikunu fan club, let me know you're a member of the Hikunu fan club in the comments below. Thank you if you are. Take care and have a nice day. Goodbye guys.